day. Tiny Moo stood in the middle of his room, eyes wide with determination. He had just watched a video called Declutter Your Life, and now Moo was ready to begin his minimalism journey. But as he looked around plushies, toys, old headphones, he realized this wouldn't be easy. Okay, he whispered, let's do this. Keep or toss. With that, the great decluttering adventure began. Moo picked up a faded green dinosaur plush, his first ever toy. It's missing one eye, he said, laughing softly, and it still smells like cookies. He held it close. That tiny T-Rex had been his nap buddy, his concert audience, even his rocket ship passenger. How do people just throw things away? Moo sighed. The decluttering was only just starting, and it already felt like heartbreak. From his desk drawer, Moo pulled out not one, not two, but 3 old headphones. Why did I keep all of these? One was broken, one had stickers, the last still worked. Sort of. Each pair came with a memory: birthday parties, late-night lullabies, first recording session. Moo paused, suddenly unsure if minimalism meant forgetting who he'd been. He almost tossed a scrappy notebook until a photo slipped out. There they were, Moo and Grandma, baking cookies with flour in their hair. His eyes widened. I almost threw this away. Suddenly, the notebook became sacred. Minimalism wasn't about less. He thought it was about meaning. He tucked the photo into his heart, and the notebook back in his drawer. In the end, Moo's room still looked full but different. Now, every shelf had stories. The headphones stayed. The dinosaur, front and center. His notebook, tucked safely under his pillow. Moo, he whispered, you did it your way. This wasn't a minimalism fail. It was a memory win. And somewhere, Grandma would be proud. Buried under his bed, Moo found a lonely sock. It was green, fuzzy, and oddly shaped like a jelly bean. This was Mr. Socky, he chuckled. Back then, Mr. Socky had a voice, a name, and dramatic exit scenes. Moo placed it on his head like a crown. Decluttering didn't mean erasing joy, it meant choosing which silliness to keep. Moo had set a rule: keep only 5 toys. He lined them up, counted 6. The 6th was a tiny rubber duck with a cowboy hat. He stared. The duck stared back. Okay, fine. 6 is a new 5, Moo grinned. Turns out, minimalism rules are more like guidelines. At the bottom of a showbox, Moo found a folded letter. It was written in crayon. Dear future Moo, don't forget how fun this toy is. It was signed by him. He smiled, heart full. That toy was long gone, but the joy stayed. Maybe letting go didn't mean forgetting. Maybe it meant remembering better. One box had no label, just tape and mystery. Inside, a concert ticket, a friendship bracelet, a dried macaroni glued to cardboard. Each item hit like a memory lightning bolt. Moo laughed, then cried. This wasn't clutter. This was a treasure chest. Minimalism could wait. Today was about remembering. Moo sat cross-legged, holding Grandma's cookie tin. He whispered, would you have tossed all this, Grandma? He imagined her voice, soft and sweet. No, Moo. I'd keep what made me giggle. Moo smiled through tears. Minimalism wasn't about emptiness. It was about choosing joy. He closed the tin gently, heart lighter than ever. Moo stared at his sticker wall, hundreds of tiny faces, stars, and sparkles. Technically, this is visual clutter, he said. He peeled one off, then another, but halfway through, his hooves froze. Each sticker marked a birthday, a song, a silly dance. Moo paused. Maybe some clutter is art. He gently stuck the last one back on. Moo called Bobo, his best friend. Help me choose what stays, Moo pleaded. They laughed over old comic books, danced with sock puppets, and made a maybe pile as tall as Moo. Minimalism is easier with a buddy, Bobo grinned. And suddenly, the room didn't feel so hard to let go of. One shelf had a golden trophy. Moo picked it up. It read, Greatest Snack Disappear Moo, age 4. He blinked. Did I give this to myself? He burst out laughing. No way I'm tossing this. The trophy had no real value except for pride, memory, and pure silliness. And that was everything. 7 journals, all half-used. Why do I never finish them? Moo wondered. Flipping through, he found doodles, lyrics, dreams. Each one felt like a different Moo. I guess I've had many versions of me. He smiled. Decluttering wasn't just about space, it was about honoring those old selves, then gently letting them go. By sunset, Moo sat in his room less cluttered, but still full of stories. He took a deep breath. Not everything was gone, but everything that stayed mattered. He wasn't a perfect minimalist. He was a meaningful one. Tiny room, big heart, Moo whispered, turning off the light. Moo looked at the corner labeled just in case. An old scarf, 3 dried markers, a glow stick that barely glowed. Why do I keep this stuff? He imagined a world-ending snowstorm, and him, stylish in the scarf. He giggled. Maybe just in case really meant just not ready. And that was okay too. Decluttering his room was onceing his tablet. A disaster. Over 400 screenshots, most of snacks. Why did I save this bagel? Moo mumbled. He scrolled through blurry photos, duplicate selfies, and 7 unused apps. Even digital clutter felt heavy. With a sigh, he tapped, delete, delete, delete. Lighter already. One item stopped Moo cold, a glitter mug from Auntie May. He never used it, but it was handmade, with wobbly letters that spelled best Moo ever. He remembered her face when she gave it. Could he really give that away? Maybe not. But he didn't need to feel guilty either. Love, he realized, wasn't locked in stuff. Behind everything else sat a taped-up box labeled Do Not Open. Moo stared. He had no idea what was inside. With shaky hooves, he opened it. Inside, old report cards, a broken music toy, and his first ever recorded lullaby. He listened. It was off-key. It was perfect. Some fears are just memories, waiting to be loved again. With the hardest parts done, Moo turned up his favorite tune. He danced around with empty boxes on his head. The room echoed with laughter, music, and flying socks. Decluttering didn't have to be serious. It could be goofy, freeing, even fun. For the first time in days, Moo felt light inside and out. Moo decided one shelf would hold only the items that made him smile. He arranged them with care. A music button, the glitter mug, Mr. Saki. Each piece, a chapter in his story. This wasn't clutter. It was a curated memory museum designed by Moo, for Moo. And just like that, the room had heart. Moo sat quietly, looking around. There was more space now. But strangely, everything felt fuller. His desk invited music. His bed welcomed dreams. And his shelf? It told his story without shouting. Maybe it was about room for feelings, for growth, for Moo. Maybe minimalism wasn't about less. Scrolling online, Moo saw perfect rooms, white, spotless, empty. He looked around his own, colors, stickers, a stuffed dinosaur wearing sunglasses. Not exactly aesthetic, he chuckled, but it felt right. It was his version of minimalism, honest, silly, and full of Moo. Trendy? Maybe not. True? Absolutely. Inspired, Moo grabbed a notebook and began writing. Dear future Moo, it said, if you forget why you kept these things, just remember, they made you laugh, cry, and sing. He added a drawing of himself in headphones, next to a dancing sock. Then, he tucked it into a new memory box. Some clutter was meant to be found again. Minimalism looked different than Moo expected. Not empty shelves, but chosen treasures. Not blank walls, but moments frozen in doodles. Not silence, but space for music, dance, and daydreams. He smiled. Minimalism isn't about less stuff. It's about more you. And Moo? He had never felt more like himself. Moo invited Bobo over to see the final result. Bobo gasped, it's still so you. There was space to play, shelves of memories, and a dance floor in the middle. They spun, laughed, and declared it Moo's official heart room. Moo beamed. Decluttering didn't erase identity, it amplified it. Late that night, Moo whispered, what's the line between a memory and a mess? He glanced at his shelf. Everything there had a reason, a smile, a story, a sound. It wasn't about owning less. It was about honoring more. And in that balance, Moo found peace. Moo set up a camera and began recording. If you're watching this, he grinned, I survived decluttering. He showed off his shelf, danced with the sock, and gave a tour of his meaning corner. This room may not be minimalist, but it's 100% Moo. He winked. And if you're decluttering, keep the weird stuff. That's where the magic lives. Minimalism had rules. Moo broke most of them, but what he made instead was harmony. Harmony between chaos and calm, between toys and memories, between who he was and who he's becoming. He didn't follow a trend. He followed himself. And that, Moo thought, is the most minimal truth of all. So if you ever feel overwhelmed by stuff, take a breath. Hold each thing and ask, does this still tell my story? If not, let it go. If yes, keep it close. Minimalism isn't about things. It's about truth. Tiny Moo waves goodbye, but leaves you with this. Your story matters. Your space matters. And above all, you matter. Like, subscribe, and Moo with me next time.